Oh, look what I got. Dragontown and the Darkness Below, inscribed by J.P. Coover. This is a book that I'm really excited about. It's on Kickstarter right now. This is not sponsored. This is just a book that I saw and I spent my own dollary dues on. And I want to tell you guys about it because I think it's got like another week or two left. I'm not exactly sure how long. This is just a preview copy that was sent to me. The final book is going to look much more handsome than this. Whether you're running 5e or Pathfinder or any other type of fantasy role-playing system, you can run Dragontown: The Darkness Below with minimal work. And I really like how this thing has been set up. So one of my favorite things before we even get started is rather than like a 3,000 word essay on the background and the backstory and all this, what we have is a little comic about what's happening and the history, and it gives you the GM. This I don't think this is something you would show to the players, but it gives you the GM the background information of the story of these heroes. So there's this old the previous heroic party, and there was the darkness below, and they sealed it away. And then here's this Farivald remained deep down, and he kept it sealed, and then everybody else did these other things. So it gives you the backstory of what's happening, and then we have this dragon Xanthoriel. He comes and he actually protects this village. It gives you the backstory very quickly. Here's a table of contents, and I love how it just jumps right into the story and how to play, and you can just pick it up very quickly. You could probably read through chapter 1 in maybe 15 minutes and be ready to play. That's how quickly and easily I'd say you can get things going. So chapter 1 and chapter 2, you're in this town, Dragontown and Malamere Castle. Then you're off to the Windsong Woods and then to the Shadespeare Mountains. I love how there's lots of different places to visit, lots of different biomes and interesting things. Then you go down into the deeps, and then there's this worm that you go inside of, and you have to exit, and then there's the sky. So lots of cool stuff happening. I don't want to spoil too much, but it's set up to be easy to run for the GM and obviously fun for the players as well. So here's the guide. It could be run as individual one-shots or connected to form a single campaign length game. And I would probably run it as a campaign length game. It's not overly long. That would take you like 2 or 3 years to run. This would be like maybe 12 sessions. So if you're playing every month, this would be like a quarter. So 3 months to run through everything, most likely. It's recommended to read the chapter in its entirety and at least the intro to the following chapter before running the adventure. So again, you don't have to read through all however many hundred pages. Let's see how many pages we have here. 200 pages. So you don't have to read through all 200 pages before you can get started. Just read through one chapter at a time, and maybe just like the beginning, the intro to the next one. So 15, 20 minutes, you're ready to run. So if you're playing on Friday night, you read this around lunchtime, and you're ready to play. How can this be system neutral if Pathfinder stat blocks and 5e stat blocks and this other stat blocks, they're all different stat blocks? What JP has done is really smart. I don't know if he's invented this. I don't know any other system that's done this. There might be, but JP's a pretty smart guy. So instead what he does is there is the scale of 1 to 4 or 0 to 4. If you have 0 of these little circles filled in, then it's complete lack of that statistic, like the speed of a tree, right? Okay. Then all the way up to 4, which is an overwhelming statistic, like the armor of an iron dragon, for instance. So here is an example stat block, and let me just show you how I would set this up in a game like Nimble or anything similar like 5e. It'd be really very straightforward. Most of these systems have like these tables where you can generate a monster. So let's say this is going to be a level 1 encounter with an ogre, and you could scale it up to be whatever level, but let's say it's a level 1 encounter with an ogre. We go to level 1 here, and a level 1 with he's got two circles for his armor. So let's say medium armor. His hit points would normally be 22 hit points, but because his health, right here, his health is a little bit more than normal, we'll go up to the next level. So instead of 22, we'll give him 27 hit points. So I just wrote 27 hit points right there with medium armor. What about his attacks? His damage is above average. So again, we'll go over here to the damage per round. So instead of 12, we'll up it to 13. So he deals a little bit more damage than typical. And then his speed is really slow. So instead of a 30-foot movement speed, maybe 25 or 20-foot movement speed. And to prevent kiting shenanigans, let's give him a ranged attack also, 10 range. So he deals less damage at range, and he deals more damage. A big honkin' chonkin' smack of his tree club would deal a little bit more damage. So there we go. That's the monster. That's all you need. So medium armor, 27 hit points, 13 damage, or maybe 10 damage from range, and you're done. You're all set. Uh, Item pricing works very, very similarly. We'll get to that in a second, but it is ranked from 1 to 4. I don't know, was that diamonds or rupees? 1 to 4 rupees. So you can figure out things very, very easily if you're familiar with whatever system that you're running. I love the splash art for the book. This is Chapter 1, Dragontown. Melamere Valley, what's going on here? It is an unusually peaceful region. There's magical apples that grow year-round, and some of this information was already told in the preview comic, but just sort of reiterating in case you skipped that. It's almost too good to be true, and spoiler alert, it is too good to be true. There's some shenanigans happening. Xanthoriel acts as the Dragontown's mayor and protector, and I love that it's a spin on the typical, "Ooh, dragons are bad, let's kill the dragons." You know, yeah, dragons can be bad, but this is a golden dragon, and he's protecting Dragontown. It's his town, and what a cool name, Dragontown. Norunar, this is the druid. He sort of acts as the big bad guy for Chapter 1, Chapter 2. We'll find out more about him in just a little bit, but I love the foreshadowing. It's an unusually peaceful region. It's almost too good to be true, and there's this bad guy, this character who is following them, and you get hints of him throughout the chapter, because he's following the party. There are some random encounters in addition to Narunar, and I was planning on reading through. Let's just highlight just one of them, like maybe our favorite one, just so we can get a sense of what's going on. I ended up highlighting what, 6 of them. I ended up highlighting most of them. Let me just show you just to give you a flavor of what's going on. I'll read a couple of my favorites. The Lunar Tower is number 6. Every full moon, a lonely tower appears on a hill, and at the top of the empty tower, how weird is that? At the top of the empty tower sits a blind white owl. It will answer a single question truthfully in exchange for a song. How absolutely cool is that? So for me as a GM, there's always information that I have that the party wants, and I want to tell them, but without also breaking the story. So this is a fantastic way to give them that information and also let them earn it so that they feel good about earning the information. It's not just like a boring monologue from me as the GM. They sought out, so they saw this lonely tower, they sought it out, they figured out, some kind of song. I don't know what they sing, happy birthday, I don't know what they sing, but they sing a song, and then this owl gives them information, and now they have to answer, like, just pick just one question, and they get the answer to that. So really cool way for the GM to insert themselves into the story and give information that they need, like, like, how do I, what's the secret to finding Windsong Woods, or like, what's the secret about, the mountains, or whatever you want to know about. Well, where's the Dragontown mayor? Because he's missing, right? Where is he? So we can go and ask the lonely owl. Or number 7, shaky ground. Slight tremors are felt. Is something big below? And spoiler alert, there is. So again, more foreshadowing, ways to interact, more foreshadowing, a cool possible combat encounter or role-playing encounter with this troll. Lots of really cool things. And Dragon Bell, this is my last favorite one. We'll keep going. A shiny object is half buried in the ground. A gold bell with a wooden carved dragon handle. It makes no noise when rang. It's obviously magical because there's a dragon on the handle that's made out of pure gold, right? But it doesn't ring when you ring it, so you figure out what that's about a little bit later, and you can use that if you want to. Adventuring in Dragontown, the Golden Dragon, Xanthoriel, Mayor of Dragontown, is missing. Oh no. It's been 20 days since Xanthoriel has been seen, and the townsfolk are beginning to wonder if they've been abandoned by their dragon mayor. Unsavory types have taken advantage of Xanthoriel's absence, and Dragontown is being threatened in multiple ways. So there's lots of different places to adventure. There's lots of different adventures to find. There's not just one prescribed thing that you can do. There's lots of different things you can do. And in the beginning, something that I did actually skip, there is a map of Dragontown, and you can just show your players, well, here's the map. Where do you want to go? I love that about this adventure. One of the coolest things about RPGs is you can really just go in anywhere and do anything. But the negative thing to that is for GMs, prepping an entire town, like you just plop them down, like right here next to this little well. Okay, where do you guys want to go? It can be very, very intimidating to have to prep all of these different things. So, for instance, one adventure that a couple years ago I tried to prep, I tried to do this, was this Waterdeep Dragon Heist. It's supposed to be a pretty cool adventure, and it takes place in Waterdeep, a really big city. And if they go to this neighborhood, like there's all these things happen. If they just go like 2 streets over, there's all these other completely different things happening. So, as a GM, it makes me feel like I have to prep 1,000 things just to be ready. And with how wordy some of these adventures are, it can be a little bit intimidating. So after like a month of spending time on this, I gave up. So I never did actually run that adventure, unfortunately. The cool thing about this, what JP has done is with an extreme economy of words and with deep flavor, I think he makes this so easy to run that even a new GM could, I think, run this with very little trouble. And an experienced GM could pick this up in, again, like I said, like 15 minutes. So you can plop them down wherever they want, and they can go to the Placid Gate Stable, or they could go to Ashwell Smithy or Fizzlock's Apiary. They could go wherever they want, and you just flip to that page, and you have the adventure laid out for them. You can tell them exactly what's happening there, what kind of NPCs are doing, what are they doing. He really makes it very, very easy to run. Some adventure hooks. I particularly like number 6, but I think any of these would do. A group of thieving catfolk have stolen something valuable from the heroes, presumably. The adventurers have tracked them to Dragontown. Okay, so here's why we're here. So we're here for this one reason, and then while we're here, we find lots of cool NPCs to help out. Other people need things. There's mysteries to solve, and there's dun dun dun, a bigger danger. It's the darkness below. The darkness below is the bigger danger. So lots of cool things to happen that could be happening. Lots of cool reasons why they might be here. So here's some common knowledge about Dragontown. So any NPC they go to, they might be able to pick up any one of these different things, and they can learn about the town. Let me turn this extra light on. And they can learn about the town as they play rather than a big info dump before they get started. So, some common knowledge: the ruins around Malamere Castle are covered in poisonous vines that attack when approached. Probably there to protect the dragon's treasure. Ooh, there's dragon's treasure. Ooh, and there's poisonous vines. Ooh. Slimes descend upon Dragontown from Malamere Castle every night looking for apples to eat. They leave a horrible mess. So, those are some cool things that are happening. Here's magical apples. Here's a list of, and unfortunately, it is 13 apples. JP. What if it was just a natural 12? What if it was 12? You can like randomly roll for the 12. 13 is cool, but maybe if I was going to give any advice on this fantastic book, is maybe combine. So we have 4 common ones, 2 very rare, 1 extremely rare, and then maybe I might just eliminate one of these rare ones so that we have 12, like a nice even 12, so we can roll for it. Anytime you can roll for something, I think is pretty sweet. So there's a bunch of different apple farms. There's not just one apple farm. There's a bunch of different ones, and then each of the different locations, they have their own spread. Some of them are half a spread. So here's a half a spread: the Placid Gate, here's Ashwell Smithy, the Valorum Temple, the Tidbit Bakery. And each one has a quick introduction of the NPCs and what's going on. And each one has a quest for you. So wherever you go, you can find a quest. You're never hurting for adventures here. I love how each of the NPCs has a want. So Quinn, this 4-armed, eye patch wearing elf-looking creature. She loves her shop and considers taking care of the residents of Dragontown a top priority. And she has a different outlandish story about how she lost her eye every time she's asked. Love that. If you describe an NPC or to show them this picture, they are absolutely going to ask, well, what happened to your eye? And probably if this was a real NPC, she's probably asked that every single day. So yeah, she would obviously have fun with this. We get a sense of the flavor and style of this NPC without a whole long backstory and 5-page backstory of all of it. There's a couple of paragraphs and you get it and you get it immediately. One thing that jumped out to me, one thing that made me extremely curious is in the art, no apples allowed. No apples. Apples out of stock. There's a little apple with a slash through it. Up here, what's for sale? 0 apples are for sale. That's what's for sale. So it led me to ask, like, well, why in the world would this person who's selling stuff? It's a market. Why would you have no apples? And maybe when your players make their way into Quinn's Sundries Market, she sort of like hollers at them, "Hey, you guys aren't bringing any apples in here, are you? You better not be bringing any apples." And then what they see is like there's a bunch of no apple signs all throughout the store. And then like the first thing they ask is like, well, what's the deal with the signs, right? What's the deal with the eye patch? What's the deal with the signs? And then it's a natural segue into her quest. So what happened is every night these slimes that we talked about, they come from the castle looking for apples. And the first night, her store was overrun, damaging a lot of other items. So she's exterminated all the apples, eliminated all the apples from her store. But she does feel bad for letting down the local farmers because she usually buys apples from them and sells apples for people. But she can't right now because these slimes, they're slimes. So like, hey, actually, you guys look like heroes. Can you help me with the slimes? Perfect segue. This is also a great place to talk about the little rupees, the little symbols for how much something costs. So how that works If it has one little diamond, one little rupee, these items are easily affordable, maybe like one or two silver pieces. Adventurers could easily have enough to buy multiple of those. Two little rupees, the items are affordable. Adventurers have enough currency to buy a single one. Three, those things are pricey, though. Yeah, you're gonna have to pool your money if you want to buy something that costs three, and something that's four, expensive. You got to save up for that. And I really love how that is because that's kind of how these kind of shops, like in medieval times, if you go to a bazaar overseas or something, that's how it's gonna be. You might ask, well, how much is this short bow? She might look at you and say, I don't know how much, how much you got? 30 gold. And if the party has like, if the person has 25 gold, they'll say, what? 30 gold? That's crazy. And then like you start negotiating, like, all right, hang on, like don't leave, I want your money, you want the short bow, let's talk, right? So it's a great way to role play rather than just like this like exchange, like it's 30 gold. Just look at the spreadsheet, it's 30 gold. It's all of a sudden like a more interesting encounter, and it has this cool side effect of being system neutral, which I kind of love. So there's lots of cool things you can buy. And each, like I said, each different location has a simple spread or simple page. Here we have Rebecca and Amelia Calara. They are the twins of this guy, and they have a problem that they need solved. And there's connections between all the different places as well. So these girls, they look up to her, the Ashwell Smithy, the Valorum Temple. They have this guy Carl. He's got a quest. The Tidbit Bakery, I particularly like this. Doper Flower Fellow, like what a sad name, like what an absolutely sad name. But the bad guys of this very first adventure section, the bad guys, where are they? The alley cats. And look how cute. There's Blue, there's Choco, there's Cal, there's Torty and Torby. So these guys, they're thieves. They come into town, knocking people around and doing some shenanigans. So let's see what's happening. If a customer takes too long to order, they might witness a couple of alley cats coming or going from the back room of the bakery. It didn't take the alley cats long to find an easy mark in Dolper. Poor little Dolper. A simple agreement was made. Dolper allows the alley cats to enter and exit their underground hideout through his shop, and they won't steal from his customers. Dolper feels guilty that he's prioritizing his customers over the other shops in town. If the adventurers help get rid of the alley cats, Dolper will reward them with an endless supply of sweets and name a signature cookie after them. How cool. How cool is that? So, getting fame, like fame is an underrated quest reward. I think this, getting a cookie, a signature cookie named after you, is way better than like a +1 magical sword or something. Like, yeah, that's boring. Like, yeah, it's cool. I mean, you can deal a little bit more damage, but it's boring. This is cool. Like you're becoming more well known, you're being thanked by this person, and you're making a difference in the story, which I love. So each one of these different places, they have a quest, and they can send you to other places. You can learn more about what's going on. So each place has a different interesting thing going on, different problem that you as the adventurers can solve. And then here's the Alley Cat's hideout. I believe the box set is going to have maps of all these different locations. You can just put the map right there on your table, and then you just hide this little section with a piece of paper, and like, all right, here you in the bakery, and you go down, and then here's what you see, and then here's the main room, and you can just play just like that. Really cool. I love some of these puns. This is definitely dad approved. The catapult. Love all of these things. So super easy to run, super easy to. You don't need to spend a lot of time prepping this adventure. So you read through this, maybe 15, maybe 20 minutes, and you're ready to run. They can go anywhere they want. If the first place they want to go is Fizzleflox Apiary, you're ready. You've read it already. You flip open to this one spread. It's not 5 pages. You can run it very quickly. Something cool also is once they've done one or two quests, then let's just go and read this. If a group of adventurers helps a few people around town, Polly Fizzleflock, this cute little girl there, the town's beekeeper will take notice. She'll approach with news of the dragon. So you're sort of helping push them in the direction of the adventure, but subtly. Her bees have told her they can hear the dragon sleeping inside the castle. Ah, okay. So the dragon isn't missing. The dragon is just sleeping, and the bees know that the dragon is in there. And it's a cool way to provide this secret information because, like, yeah, the bees can go inside the castle easily, where other people might not be able to, and they give you this information. So you're sort of pushing people subtly and gently into the direction of the adventure, but they can still like do whatever they want inside. So maybe instead of going, let's go to the castle later. Let's go to the cemetery next. There's some weird undead shenanigans happening there, and there's some interesting things to explore, some problems to solve. So they can spend however much time they want in chapter 1, helping people getting to know the story, that kind of stuff. And whenever they're ready, they can head to Malomir Castle. So I'm not going to go too deep into the adventure. I don't want to spoil things too much, but there is some really interesting things happening in the adventure. So another really interesting, cool map that I love. This is a sludge behemoth. So this is probably what I would call, like in Nibble terms, this would likely be the first legendary monster. And likewise, there is just a super simple table. Just grab the different numbers. So we have super high health. High health, armor, and damage. Ooh, that's interesting. And then we can pick the stats that we want. And in 5 minutes, we have a really fun legendary monster encounter without too much work. And same thing for these animated brambles. If it's just like a weak little dorky dude, if you're playing 5e, maybe just give him a kobold stat block and tweak it a little bit. And then there you go. So lots of different ways you can use these super simple system neutral little dots. I want to show you how the sort of end of this first important story beat happens. It's not proscribed where like this is a thing that happens. You come in and fight this guy and you rescue the dragon. There's sort of like one of two or three or four different things that can happen, and it's up to the adventurers what it is. So this is Narunar the Druid, and when you meet him, he doesn't want to fight, and he will actively avoid it. So it's not just like, oh, we get to the BBEG and we've uncovered the thing and we just kill him. No, you can do that. That's one of the options. Like, yeah, he explains all these things, and the party is absolutely free to say, hush your mouth. Put your arms up. Like, let's fight. But he doesn't want to fight, and he will actively avoid it, even shape-shifting and flying up to a perch higher in the tower. So he shape-shift into that red-tailed hawk again, and like sort of like, hey guys, I don't want to fight. Again, they still can, but they don't have to. So he will explain some of the backstory, and turns out a lot of the shenanigans that's happening is his fault. It's his fault. He's trying to fix something, but he's sort of made things worse. He admits to inviting some of these bad guys into town and causing some of these things, but he admits that it was a mistake. Oh, okay. But reasoning with the people of Dragontown didn't work. So this wasn't his first thing. So maybe the people of Dragontown didn't tell you that, hey, this guy came and this crazy guy was talking about, this and that. I don't know. So he doesn't want to fight, and he explains what's going on, and he leaves it up to you what to do. You can go in and wake the dragon, even though he kind of doesn't want you to. You can side with the druid, and then he will tell you certain things, or you can like just go in and plunder the treasure, right? You just steal a treasure. Like that's always the option, right? If the dragon's sleeping and this guy's not going to stop you, like, yeah, let's take the treasure. Fantastic. But if they do that, he will warn them, one day when the dragon wakes, he will come looking for his stolen treasure. So like, do you really want to do that? Like this is a real place, not just like some like video game you can just loot, without with impunity. This is like a real dragon. It's a cartoon dragon, but like it's a real dragon in this world. And if you steal his things, he's gonna come looking for you. So like you can do it, but are you sure? And that's a great sort of hint for the GM to sort of tell the players as well. Alternatively, like if you don't like this sort of like good guy, bad guy type of situation, if you just really want your players to feel like unmitigated heroes, there's this alternate option like, hey, this guy's actually he's working with the darkness below, so he's really just a bad guy, so kill him. Like you can do that as well if you want a more straightforward story. So what happens after that? If the players, for instance, decide to wake up the dragon, then this is what happens. When awoken, he explodes upward, filling the tower in a roar of anger. Who dares trespass in my home? How cool is that? And then he takes a moment and he talks to them. And then one really, really cool thing is once their business is concluded, Xanthoria will ask the adventurers to climb on my back. Climb on my back, adventurers. He'll fly them out of the tower, sweeping past the castle walls, burning the vines away with his fire breath. And then he will land in the center of town so all the townsfolk can see who is responsible for his return. Hooray! So like fame, like these guys, like I've gotten to know these NPCs and like this guy and like whoever that is, Zora Duhar. So I've got to know all these NPCs over the course of the last session or two, and now the dragon of Dragontown himself allows us to like jump on his back, and he's flies us out, and like we are actually heroes. Like we are famous in this town. That is the reason why people play RPGs. Not the only reason, but like that experience. Like when do you ever get to ride on the back of a dragon and like to the accolades of the adoring population, right? When does that ever happen? That is so So very cool. Something you'll notice that Xanthora the Gold Dragon, there is no stat block. Fighting him is not really an option. So, for instance, his tail can level a building in an instant. Okay, so there's his stat block. He can one-shot all of the heroes. Like how long would it take the heroes to level a building? More than one round, right? So his tail can level a building in an instant. He speaks in a low, slow tone that causes the ground to shake, and his gaze is powerfully piercing as if he can read your thoughts. Okay, this is not an NPC to fight. That's not the purpose of him. Okay, so when you wake the dragon, if you do that, then he will deal with the druid. So if he'll ask you if the druid's still in the tower, he'll ask you if the druid is responsible for any of the deaths, any deaths in town while he was sleeping. If yes, a burst of searing hot flame blasts forth from Zenthoriel's mouth, consuming the druid, killing him instantly. Ooh, okay, so you can see the power of this dragon. Don't trifle with the gold dragon, right? You can see the power of him without having to fight him, which is really pretty cool. If the answer is no, then Xanthoriel will banish him back to the Windsong Woods, and then then the story continues in a different direction. See, the adventure continues from there. I'm not going to get too much into the deeper spoilers. I want to show you one really cool part that I am particularly excited to run. Chapter 7, the Emperor of Worms, and the dungeon is the worm itself. So you like fall into the thing's mouth and you have to fight your way out, and like there's houses and things living in here, and like how cool is that? So that is just a quick preview of Dragontown in the Darkness Below. It is on Kickstarter right now. I want to encourage you all to check it out. There's a box set. That is what I have personally backed with my own dollar dues. I'm looking forward to getting my box set and running this for my friends at my own personal home table. Check it out. It is system neutral, whether you play 5e, whether you play Nimble or Pathfinder or any other fantasy tabletop RPG. You can get Dragontown and get a lot out of it. The writing itself, even if you never play it, the writing itself and the ideas that are in it, I think are worth the price of admission alone. I give it 2 very big thumbs up. 3, I'd give it 3 if I had a third hand, but 2 thumbs up.